Welcome to the Run Yogi Diaries podcast. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Santosh Shiva. I'm the podcast host and the creator. This podcast is about stories. Through conversations with ordinary people on extraordinary journeys, through their endurance sports achievements, we explore their motivations, strategies, and what keeps them going. Each of us have the possibility to be athletic. And being athletic is not just physical. It is also a victory of our will over the ordinary circumstances that we live in. I hope you take back some inspiration, some motivation, and hopefully go back and perspire. Stay inspired. In the house today is Vikas Malik, folks. Vikas Malik is a extremely accomplished and competitive recreational athlete. He's probably one of the fastest 100-mile finishers, ultrarunners from India, having to his credit an 18-hour, 20 minutes finish. We get behind the scenes of his amazing journey. He is someone who pushes limits. He is someone who has grown leaps and bounds. And so we have a lot to learn. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this conversation. If you're new to this channel, please remember to hit subscribe so you get the latest updates, and it also spreads the word. Share the video if you think this was an interesting conversation. Make sure you leave your comments and hit like. Let's dig in. Hey Vikas, welcome to Run Yogi Diaries.
Hey, thank you, Santosh, for having me. Thanks a lot.
Yes, finally, we finally get around sitting to talk about your journey, and thanks for making the time. I know you've been going through a lot of transitions, so thank you. And I wish you a Merry Christmas. Today's Christmas. We're recording on Christmas Day.
You too. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Cool. So, Vikas, again, such a pleasure to have you in this conversation. You're an accomplished ultra runner, and I want to take a stab at who you are and what you've done, and maybe you can add to that if I miss something. Does that sound okay?
Sounds great.
So, first of all, you're a physicist by training. You're a doctorate in physics, right? And professionally, you worked as a in the food analytical scientist. Is what one of your bio described you as. Ultra running is your passion, right? And we'll get into that, and that's why we're here. You also are a running coach, I understand. And you're also a practitioner of high fat, low carb, or what people call as ketogenic diet, in which we will double click on that in terms of how that's worked for you. But more interestingly, something that's very special about you that people should know about you is probably the fastest known Indian origin runner of a 100-miler. You have a finish time of 18 hours, 20 minutes in, I think, the Hennepin Hundred at Illinois. You were among the top 10 finishers, and this is probably the fastest for someone of an Indian origin / Indian, nationality. You've been part of the Indian national team for 100K World Championship in 2018. You have many 50K podium finishes, including the recent win this year, actually, at the Badger Trail race. So that's quite impressive. But in addition to that, this is not you have a long record of achievements here, Vikas, which is very impressive. You have a course record of 400K on the Badger Trail. And as I said, you won the 50K recently. You also were the winner at the 100K in Badger Trail in 2019. And you placed second in the 2016 T-Bunk Endurance Challenge, 50-miler. So a lot of podium finishes there for you. You're also an entrepreneur in the nutritional supplement industry. So, Vikas, very impressive. You've been up to some very exciting work. Did I miss anything? And you live right now in Connecticut, correct?
Yeah, I recently moved to Connecticut. That's correct. Thank you so much. Yeah, you got it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Did I miss something? And you're from UP. I missed.
I am from UP, India. I am from Shamli. It's a small town near Delhi. I mean, exactly 100 kilometers from Delhi. So I'm from a small village in Shamli. So that's where I come from. I moved to States in 2011 and all. So one of the things that you I would like to correct as far as my bio is concerned, my
Mm.
time of 100 miler was the fastest. I was the fastest Indian at that time, but there
Okay.
are few runners who ran faster than that, around 18 hours or some
Okay.
minutes faster. So there are some fast runners in India. So it was fastest at that time, but not anymore. Which is
Okay.
yeah. I just wanted
Which
to
is
correct
okay. Which
so
is
that
okay.
people
So
know.
you
Yeah,
okay? No, thanks for that correction. So you've been you held the record for some time, and then records have to be broken, which is a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah. It's a good thing.
But still, notwithstanding that, finishing a 100 miler in 18 plus or minus those that time frame is an incredible achievement. So let's get into how it all started for you, Vikas. Give us a sense of, do a bit of a flashback, and give us a sense of why did you get how did you get into running?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and yeah, I will jump back quickly to my childhood. Honestly, I used to enjoy running, in my childhood, but as you can understand, Indian parents or Indian relatives, I mean, sports is not encouraged so much because of so many obvious
Mm,
reasons that you will not get a job or something. So I was not encouraged by my parents, and I was relatively okay in my studies. So my father said, well, running is good, but you should focus on your studies, be a scientist or engineer and get a job and live a good life, so
mm,
that's a I mean, they are not wrong in that sense, because at the end of the day, if you are in sports and you are not making your living, then what will you do with your life? So I
yeah.
used to enjoy, I used to go, and in my high school I used to participate in meets like 5,000 meters, 1K. I
Mm,
was nowhere in the top runners there, but I used to enjoy that, so that was like
mm,
inbuilt, that when I run I feel good. But that thing was not encouraged, so I said, well, okay, if it's not being encouraged, so I will focus on studies. So I focused on studies, did my masters from IIT Roorkee, then went to I went to Switzerland for my PhD in physics.
mm, mm,
And so at that time I was just earning some money, you get some
mm,
stipend in PhD. And at that time I said, okay, it's the right time to follow my passion and hobbies, so I started running at in 2007, and there was a
okay.
half marathon in Geneva, Switzerland. So somebody said, oh, there's a half marathon there. I said, I will train for that half marathon. So I trained for that half marathon, and I finished in 1 hour and 46 minutes, and my
Mm,
first half, and I felt wonderful at
mhm,
that time. I used to feel like people who run 42 kilometers must be really, really strong mentally, and
mm,
very impressive for me, because I was so tired after a half marathon. And it was so impressive for me. Forward from 2008 to 2011, I was busy in my PhD. I used to finish my thesis. You understand, like how much pressure a PhD student get. So I
mhm,
again took a break for next 3 years and finished my PhD. Joined my wife in 2011 in the States. I moved to University of Wisconsin Milwaukee as a postdoc. And to be honest, I gained a lot of weight, during my PhD,
mm,
and I was just eating habits were bad, and I was not paying attention to what I'm eating, and just no exercise, no workout, just eating. And so I gained quite a bit of weight, and I was over I will say over 200 pounds, at one point. And I started having back pain, honestly, and I was
okay.
not old at that time, so I said, this is bad, so I saw people running in Milwaukee, doing half marathons, posting on Facebook, just to be very honest. And when say, dude, I mean, look at people. People are running half
Yeah,
marathons, and
yeah.
you are just eating, and this is not the life that you want to live. And so that was my honestly inspiration to get started again. And I told my wife, I'm going for a run, and I will go for a mile. And I went for a mile, and it was it was not enjoyable, but I said, I just want to do it. And then signed up for a half marathon at first, and started eating less and controlling my diet. So I used to enjoy running since my childhood, so it was something
Yeah.
that that comes naturally to me. So then I made it a goal that, well, I will run a marathon first, after half
Mm,
I will run it. So I did a half marathon in a good time, about an hour and 46 minutes. I went to Chicago half marathon.
mm.
Then I didn't find any marathon at that point, so I said, okay, let's not do marathon, let's do 50K directly.
Mm.
So I went to Chicago and I did 50K, and that was a very very terrible experience because I started having cramps, and I have to stop many times, and things were it was not perfect, and I
Mm.
was just literally crying with pain on the course, and some lady came and said, well, are you okay? I said, no, I have terrible pain in my belly. Do you have ibuprofen or something? And she gave me ibuprofen, and I will be forever grateful, for that thing. I took that ibuprofen and I was okay for next, but I finished that in like 6 hours or something. But that's how I
So,
started.
so,
Yeah.
so when you signed up for this 50K, after your half marathon, did you do some any training at all, or you just kind of, I say, matlab,
No, no,
just
no,
went
no.
ahead and
No. I trained for it, but there was
okay.
no plan. Like I just used to read about it, like how
Hmm.
to run a marathon, how many miles you need to run. So
Hmm.
everybody described, hey, you need to run slow miles. Then there is a
Yeah.
good speed workout, and then you do a
Hmm.
long run. So I followed that kind of strategy. It was running
Hmm.
around
Hmm.
50 miles per week or something. So
Okay. Hmm.
I followed a good thing, but it was I was very immature, just go
Hmm.
run fast and then just you know then just slow down at the end.
So,
So
that's a interesting. So you did train. So I mean, I think the point I just want to kind of highlight here is it was not like there are some people who would do a half marathon and then at a whim sign off for a full, and they just go try and wing it, and then they suffer it. But in your case, you seem to have trained for it. 50 miles a week is a fairly serious, ramp up in volume.
yeah,
So, how was that like for you? I mean, just ramping up. How many weeks did you train for your first 50K?
I will say I don't remember exactly, but I will say 10 to 12 weeks I trained seriously
Okay.
for that one. And so ramping up is a very good question. I used to have
Hmm.
shin pain, terrible shin pain in
Hmm. Hmm.
when I ramped it up. So I bought these socks that you put on your
Hmm.
shin in order to relieve the pain or so. Then I was a heel striker at that time. So
Hmm.
I used to discuss with my friends who were in my running group, hey, I have terrible shin pains, and
Hmm.
somebody told me, have you checked your running style? I said, no. What is
Hmm.
that? And then I went to a running store and they checked my running style. They made a video that how I land
Hmm.
on my
Hmm.
foot.
Hmm.
So this is knowledge. You gain knowledge over a period of time. Then I
Right.
realized
Right.
that I'm a very bad heel striker. So I was just doing I was landing on my heel very badly,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's not good for your shins. You are just trying to put a brake on your
Yeah.
while you are running.
Right. Right. Right.
So my friend told me that you can change it. I said, no, it will be difficult. That's my natural running style.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that very, very confidently, I can tell you that if you focus on something, you can really change it. So I
Hmm.
deliberately started practicing that I'm going to land midfoot. I'm not going
Hmm.
to do the forefoot landing. I'm not going to the heel landing. I will try to land midfoot. So all the elite
Hmm.
runners, you will see that most of them are either slightly forefoot, do the forefoot landing or midfoot landing. So I deliberately, mentally, when I go
Hmm.
running,
Hmm.
I say I will go slow, but I will try to think that I'm landing midfoot, not a heel.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
I did that practice for 3 months at least,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it really changed. I
So this
can
was
say that
before your 50K. Before your
before my
50K.
before my 50K,
Okay.
yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
it changed, and it helped me a lot in my shin pain. It
Hmm.
did not go away, I will say, but it was still there. Um, so I did that 50K. Experience was not good, and so but that bug, running bug, I caught that running bug that I was looking for another marathon or another ultra marathon and all. So then I signed up for next marathon and started training again. And after that, like after doing a couple of marathons around 3:45 or something like this, I'm very competitive from the time point of view, like you were saying, we
Hmm.
were discussing
Hmm.
about it. And I just want to be faster and fast and faster. Still, I'm
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm over 40 now, but I want to run my PR still.
Yeah.
um so I ran a couple of marathons like 3:45, 3:40s, and all. So one of my friend told me about Boston Marathon. So
Hmm.
I said, I want to run Boston Marathon. He said, you can't just
Hmm.
you just can't go to Boston and run this. You need to qualify.
Yeah.
And he said, I qualified to run a marathon. I said, yeah, yes, you need to run any other marathon that's a Boston qualification race. in order to enter Boston. And I said,
mm,
how does it work? He said, if you are younger than 35, you need to run less than 3 hours. I said,
mm.
really, 3 hours? And it was a big task. And I said,
And you were
yeah,
at
but
3:45, around 3:30, 3:45
3:45,
those days. Hmm.
3:45 those days, yeah. So I made it. I joined a running group, which was very helpful in
Hmm.
Madison, Wisconsin. We used to call it. It doesn't exist anymore. We used to call it Red Sox running group, and most of the
Hmm.
runners there were very fast, faster than me.
Hmm.
So I contacted the group leader and said, "Hey guys, you guys are very fast, I know, but I would like to join your group." And they were very welcoming. They let me in, and so they used to run at 8 minutes pace very easily. 8 minutes per mile was very easy for them.
Hmm.
And I was like 8:30, 8:45 guy, and I was just trying to be with them. So they are
Hmm.
like maybe 200 yards ahead of me and waiting for me sometimes. They were nice people. But I said, okay, I will make it a point that I will go every day. Every day, every day
Hmm.
I will
Hmm.
go, I will
Hmm.
join them. Doesn't matter. I feel embarrassed because I'm not as fast as they are, but it's okay. But my goal was to run Boston Marathon at that time. So
Hmm.
coming from
Hmm.
3:45 to sub 3 was a big
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah.
So I trained very hard for that one for 6 months.
And this is what year? What year are we talking about now?
It was in 2015 to 2016.
Hmm. So almost 4 years after you started your
Yeah,
first
around 4 years. Yes.
4 years. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, so I trained for. I was really like, you. How do you say that in English? I'm not getting the correct word, but I wanted to do that desperately. That I need to run Boston no
Say it
matter
in
what.
Hindi.
Yeah. Okay. So I was so passionate, like, और जैसे कि मतलब कीड़ा लग जाता है ना कि नहीं यार ये
हाँ,
करना ही है कुछ भी हो जाए,
हाँ,
right?
हाँ. Right, right.
So I was at to that point that you will laugh at me, and people laughed at me at that point.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
used to do a rocket run. So rocket run
Hmm.
is a loop in Madison, Wisconsin,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
we go around the city, and it's a 11-mile loop.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
rocket run used to happen on Sundays on tired legs. So you run 20 miles on Saturday, your legs are tired, but then you run very fast 11 miles on Sunday.
Wow.
And most of them were like fast runners, sub 3
Hmm.
marathoners, and
Hmm.
who used to run with me at that time. And just to keep up with them, running a 7 minutes mile pace, 6:45, 6:30, sometimes 6:10, 6:15,
Hmm.
And one day my shoelaces were like all over, and I was trying to just keep up with them, huffing and puffing, and they were just saying, "Hey, Vikas," I said, "I cannot talk. Just please keep going," because I was huffing and puffing so much. Keep going, guys. I cannot talk because I cannot breathe, that much. I say, "Your shoelaces," and I told them, yeah, I know." I said, "Then stop." I said, "No, I just want to keep up with you guys." And say, "Stop it, because are you mad or what?" So I was up to that level that I just want to keep
Hmm.
up with
Hmm.
them.
Hmm. Hmm.
So which was a good thing in the sense, in order to improve your running efficiency and in order to be
Hmm.
fast.
Hmm.
That group helped me a lot. I ran, so I was supposed to run sub 3:05 for my age at that time.
Hmm.
So I ran 3:04:30. So I qualified for
Wow.
Boston.
And which marathon was this?
It was, I forgot the name of it. Was in Wisconsin, West Bend, very small marathon.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe 200, 300 people,
Hmm.
flat
Hmm.
course, super flat, pancake flat. So I
Hmm.
qualified for Boston. I was very happy with my hard work
Hmm.
and that I qualified, but that was not enough in order to get the entry,
Hmm.
because the cutoff system for Boston is so
Hmm.
competitive. Even if
Hmm.
you qualify, it doesn't mean, it doesn't guarantee you the entry.
Hmm. Hmm.
So my friend David Vanderwall is his name. He's a very good friend of mine. He lives in Florida now. So he said, "Dude, you need at least 302, or in order to really be in the marathons." And then I signed up
Hmm.
for the next one in
Okay.
Wisconsin itself. I said, this time I will run, 302 or something like that.
Hmm.
And then I ran 302:52, and it was tough, but then it was still iffy that if I can really do it or not. Maybe yes or maybe not. So then I signed up for the third one on the same year in
Hmm.
September,
Hmm.
just before
Hmm.
the entry. So this marathon is called Last Chance BQ.
Hmm.
Name of the marathon is Last Chance Boston Qualification in Chicago area. So there was a loop of 3.1 miles. You have to
Hmm.
go around 8 times around that loop. And so the one of the older gentlemen, it's a funny story, came to me and say, "Where are you going?" And I say, I'm going to the restroom. Say, no, you are going to Boston. I said, yeah, you are right. We are going to Boston. And so most of the runners there were there just to qualify for Boston at the last moment.
Mm, mm,
So my goal was to run sub 3 this time.
mm, mm.
It was like 2 minutes faster. So in that one, I ran 2:58:51, and
Wow.
I was pretty sure that I will get in. So I ran
Mm,
Boston after that qualification. So yeah, I
wow.
mean, yeah. Then I ran Boston. I qualified for Boston. I ran Boston. Then I thought, okay, now what next? So then I
Yeah.
joined.
So before you go to the, let's just slow mo that your journey from 3:45 to sub 2 a little bit.
Hmm.
So one takeaway from what you've done, right, is joined a running club which has faster runners, right?
Yes, yes,
On the face of it, I think, when you went there, uh, I mean, any one of us would be intimidated, right? We all as runners experience that. You're running at a certain pace, and you suddenly see somebody running at 1 minute mile faster or 2 minute mile faster. You're like, God, I don't want to slow them down. I don't want to. You feel embarrassed a lot of times to run with
right.
those people.
Yes,
But I think you seem to have, kind of gone past that and said, you know what, screw all that. I'm just going to go out and put myself at risk,
right.
right? I'm going to put myself out there. It must have been quite difficult. I mean, your body must have been rebelling, and screaming and saying, "Stop it!" Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, that's quite amazing. So what was your mantra? How did you? What was your mental? How did you mentally accomplish this? Like, how did you keep going to the uncomfortable zone and keep pushing? How did you do that? What was your mantra?
So mantra, I will say is definitely like my mantra was like I want to set a goal in my life, and I want to
Hmm.
achieve that no matter what. You know,
Hmm.
there will be many obstacles, many embarrassment, like you said, and I used to have a big belly, like Indian man. Some people have larger belly, and David used to make fun of my belly afterward. Not at that time though, but
Yeah.
afterwards when I qualified for Boston and ran for Boston, I said, yeah, because you had a decent sized belly and all. So it was fun. I mean, he's a great guy, but he was also very like proud of me after that because I
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
never thought that you will run sub 3 marathons
Huh.
and all. And so the month, coming back to your question, the mantra is simply like, I will say, I set up a goal, and I need to achieve this goal no matter what.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
certainly that the first requirement is hard work, right? Without
Hmm.
hard work, you
Hmm.
cannot achieve anything.
Yeah.
Second thing is discipline, right? So you need to,
Hmm.
no matter if you have your shin pain or you have any other obligation, you need to make time for that activity, for running, for
Hmm.
example. Number two,
Hmm.
and number three, you just need to just do it, repeat it,
Hmm. Hmm.
show up every day, and you keep doing it till you get it, and
Yeah.
there has been many failures.
Hmm.
So, and there will be many failures, I mean, no matter what. But what running has taught me, at least that Boston qualification, that if you put your heart and
Hmm.
soul to something, and it may sound little philosophical as of now, but I truly
Hmm.
believe it, because I've
Hmm.
done
Hmm.
that. So, but if you put your heart and soul in anything, no matter
Hmm.
running, business,
Hmm.
something,
Hmm.
I think things can be achieved. Um,
Hmm.
uh, and yeah, I mean, if you are focused, I will definitely say that you can achieve much more than you think. I was
Hmm.
thinking like
Hmm.
people who run sub 3 marathons, they are super, but
Hmm.
I don't think that anymore. I said because I've done it. So
Yeah.
if I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's what
Yeah,
I
so let's zoom in that a little bit, because see, this is I think this is a huge struggle for anybody in any domain, right? Which is, obviously you are putting yourself at a extremely uncomfortable training, right? Which was at another level. So I'm sure you dealt with a lot of pain, right? There was a lot of pain and discomfort. And how do you deal with pain? I mean, when you get pain, like when you're in that level of discomfort, like you are doing an 8:45 pace, and then now you're trying to run 8 or whatever at, or 7:30 or whatever that pace is,
6:45, 6:30, some even.
6:45, 6:30. How do you convince yourself not to stop, not to give up?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And again, I will go back to my goal thing.
Hmm, hmm,
You set up your goals, you signed up for it. I mean, I tell myself, nobody is forcing you. You signed up for
Mm,
it. My father used to say, do
mm,
you get money to run? I said, no, I don't. I pay money to run. And then why do you do it?
right.
So my dad still say, बुढ़ापे में तेरे घुटने दुखेंगे. He still says that, right? So
Right, right.
बुढ़ापे में you
Mm,
तू पछताएगा. अभी भी बोलते
right.
हैं वो मुझे. But अभी उन्हें
Mhm.
they gave up. They said कि यार ये तो he enjoys running, so ये रुकेगा नहीं
Yeah,
कभी.
yeah.
So, but again, I go back to this one that hey, if I signed up for this, I will finish it.
Mm,
And pain is part of that journey. I mean,
mm,
it's painful. Absolutely, it's painful. But I signed up for it. If I signed up
mm,
for it, then I should not complain.
mm, mm,
And if you want to achieve that goal, it will be painful. It will be ups, downs, painful,
mm,
and you
mm,
will be limping sometimes. And
mm,
I did honestly. And but then you take a step back,
mm,
run slow, walk.
mm,
I did
mm,
a lot of walks, a lot of walking. I did, and people don't believe like walking is. I'm telling you, walking is very useful, but
mm,
it's counterintuitive to
mm,
a person's ego because when you are not running as a runner,
mm,
feel like you're
mm,
walking. It's walking. Anybody can do it, right? But they don't realize, or we don't realize as a runner that it's so important. It's an important part of recovery. If you don't
mm,
recover today, you cannot run faster tomorrow.
mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, just if you have signed up for pain, then just tolerate it. That's
yeah.
what I would say.
Yeah, and what I'm also hearing another thing, I think you said that's a very powerful statement. You said your ego, right? You said, I think what I'm hearing in what you're saying, at least your mental hack, seems to be that one, of course, once you sign up on something which is a voluntarily you've signed up, this is
Yes,
your dream, it's your goal,
yes,
then you're gonna give it 100%, right? That's one thing done. There's no non-negotiable.
right.
The second is you also seem to have put aside your ego or what we might call as pride, put that aside and do what is right at the moment, as long as it is propelling you forward, right? Like for example, you said I walked, right? I decided to walk. If I was hurting, I would walk, but as long as I knew that it was still, supporting me in going forward, I would still do it, as long as but my goal is clear.
Right.
And of course, addition to that is going out and running hard with your faster friends. So I think those seem to be at least my takeaways in terms of how you seem to have cracked that mental code in moving from 345 to 3, because that's a huge, I feel it's probably 80% mental, 20% physical, in that,
Absolutely,
when you go
absolutely.
from that, right?
80% mental, 20% physical. You got it absolutely right. And
Right.
yeah, so I definitely, I'm still believe in a believer of a cycle. You cannot just
Hmm.
go fast like that. Everything is
Hmm.
a cycle. Life is a cycle.
Hmm.
Like um, uh, Tesla Nikola, great scientist, Nikola
Hmm.
Tesla. He said, "We all are we are all are vibrating at a certain frequency.
Hmm.
Everything is vibrating in the world at certain frequency.
Hmm.
What it
Hmm.
means, we are waves, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what a wave is, if something has frequency, it has a wave. It is a wave,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Wave has a
Hmm.
frequency. Wave means you go up, you come down, you go up,
Hmm.
you come down, you go up, you come down.
Hmm.
It's your life too. You're up,
Hmm.
you have down, you have ups, and it's the same in training. You cannot always
Hmm.
go up, up, up. You can go up, you run fast, then you come down, you cool down, you
Hmm.
walk, you
Hmm.
run, you jog, something. You take rest,
Right.
take a day off. Next day, what do? You do long run, then you
Hmm.
take a rest.
Hmm.
Then you do speed workout, then you take rest.
Hmm.
So I really believe in this Nikola Tesla's that we all are vibrating at certain frequency, and this is true for life. This is true for sports. This is true for everything. If
Mhm.
you want to make it a straight line, it will never go. It
Yeah.
will. It's not sustainable.
And coming from a physicist, that's very credible,
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I mean,
right?
I've lived that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So now this 258 that you did, right? That must have been a huge, huge sense of personal satisfaction, obviously, when you
absolutely.
finished it. How was that race? The one that you finished at 258.
That race was wonderful. It was a little bit hot. It was in Green Bay. And it was in the
Hmm.
Lombardi, the Green Bay Packers field. So that's why I did
Yeah.
it because I lived in Wisconsin. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and
Hmm.
so it is supposed to end in Lombardi field, the Green Bay
Hmm.
Packers field, the last mile.
Hmm.
Everything was great. People were outside their homes, giving shower to people because it was really
Hmm.
hot at that day. And but the last mile was very difficult in the sense that half marathoners were blocking yourself, so, and I
Hmm.
last mile I wanted to go fast, I went
Hmm.
257, I wanted to hit 257, but half.
Hmm.
So since you are running in a stadium, so I was blocked by half marathoners who were
Hmm.
like 2 hours or 2:30 half marathoners, and we were
Hmm.
faster marathoners. So they were blocking us, and it's like, excuse me, but they had headphone, right? So
Yeah.
that slowed me down by a minute, I will say. Definitely, it was very frustrating, and this has been a complaint of many runners
Hmm.
in Green Bay Packers, in Green Bay Marathon. But yeah, I ran 258 and 258:21, and I was pretty sure that I will be okay to go to Boston. And after that, I ran even faster. I ran 247 in Milwaukee.
This
Uh,
is after the Boston.
those were after the Boston. Yeah,
Okay, okay. So before you go there, so
yeah.
this 258, which seems to have been kind of your breakthrough marathon, right? How was it? So what pace are we talking about? Is it like 258 is what, roughly
652,
630?
650, 652.
652 pace.
Uh,
So did you do a consistent pace all of that 26.2 miles, or how did you pace yourself, and how did it feel for you? Was it like your fitness had come to a point where you were naturally driving that pace, or did you have to keep pushing every mile?
no, that's a good question. Everybody has a different pacing strategy, but my pacing strategy that has worked for me is start slow. I never
Hmm.
start my at my goal pace. So
Hmm. Hmm.
my strategy is always like, let's say my goal pace is 652. I will start at 7 or 7:2.
Hmm.
Every mile I will keep very slowly, and I don't even push till half of the marathon point, a half marathon point.
Hmm.
So, for example, first mile I will run 7:02. Second mile I will make my average pace will be 7:01. Third mile it will be
Hmm.
7. Fourth mile it will be 650, 6:59. So on and so forth. I will
Okay.
keep.
Okay.
I will slowly, slowly, slowly. And if there is a like uphill mile, I don't care. It
Hmm.
can come back to 7:02. After that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then I start picking up again. So my strategy is start slow and
Hmm.
then reach to your goal point by marathon mile of 14 or 15, and then
Hmm.
and maintain from 14 to 23, and then give everything from by 23 till the end. So,
Okay.
and that has been very successful because when you are at 23, you have 3 miles to go. You don't
Hmm.
have anything to lose. Just give everything. So
And
that's,
and you've been doing that ever since you hit that close to 3 or
yes,
4,
exactly.
3 or 2. That's been your approach.
For marathons,
And
yes.
and did you ever, in terms of energy levels, um, are you kind of you never feel any loss of energy at all this 26.2 miles? You're kind of, or is
Energy,
it getting has been getting better?
I think with training it got much better. I used to
Hmm.
feel drained when I was at 346 marathoners, but then I put a
Hmm.
lot of volumes in my training. So more you
Okay.
train, better more I train, better I became.
Okay.
So I think I definitely, when I was at 345 marathons, last 6 months was terrible. I was used to feel
Hmm.
terrible. I have no energy. I have no will to go faster. But when you train more, your legs becomes faster, your body is adapted to run that
Yeah.
long, that fast. So yeah, I mean, training has changed everything. Honestly, training is
Yeah.
definitely number one factor. Diet is
And
very
what kind of volumes do you train? How many miles do you train for those kind of finishes? Three, sub threes.
sub threes. I used to run around 80 to 100 miles per week at that time. So
Wow,
quite a
that is
quite a
it.
bit of volume. Yeah, I used to put quite a
Right.
bit of volume. Volume definitely helps anybody
Mm,
who is planning to run a faster marathon. Go slow, walk,
mm,
but put the
mm,
volume. Definitely, it will
mm.
definitely help you.
Great, great tip. Yeah, great. That's an interesting, very, very valuable feedback as well. And what about, how did your body respond to all this? Did you? I know you dealt with shin splints earlier on in your when you started, but while you went to this kind of 80, 100 miles per week, how was your body responding in terms
Uh,
of?
yeah, my body did not respond well initially because I used to have
Mm,
fever. Because I was
mm,
putting so much volume, and then I was having fever, and I said, "Why do I have fever?" And my wife was saying, "Because you run so much. You are always running."
mm.
So your body is so tired. Then I went to my doctor, and as he said, do you exercise a lot or something like that? I told my history, and he said, yeah. He said, then take some rest, in between. It's
Mm.
not good. Sometimes when you give your body, too much stress, you know, your you increase the volume of white blood cells, and your immune
Mm.
system becomes hyperactive, and
Okay.
that's why you can get some type of fever. And my level of my WBC was very high at that time,
Mm.
and so doctor said just slow down, take some days off, and it's okay to take some days off. And yeah, initially I used to have fever, and but then slowly I took a step back,
Mm.
and then came back to 50, then 60, 70, 80, 90, then again
Little
back.
bit back.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. So again,
Interesting.
like I will say, a cycle is much
Cycle.
better.
Yeah, great feedback there, tips there. Great. So you did 258, got into Boston. So how was Boston for you? That what was a dream come true? How was the Boston experience?
The Boston experience was very good and very bad at the same time. Good in the sense that you feel like a star when you run Boston Marathon, because starting from mile 1 to mile 26, you are surrounded by people clapping for you,
Hmm.
cheering for you. You
Hmm.
feel like you are running in Olympic or something. So it was a wonderful experience, but my time was not good, and I blew up around mile 20. It was really hot at that day,
Hmm.
and I was talking about my friend David. I caught him at mile 22, and he said he was also struggling. He said, "No, dude, go ahead, go ahead." I said, "No, it doesn't matter anymore because I'm not running sub 3 anymore. So let's run together." So we finished together. So from my time point of view, it was not good, but experience was wonderful. Boston is great.
Hmm.
Everybody
And that
should.
was what year? What year was that?
2017.
2017. Interesting. And I've heard this from many other runners that they've done phenomenal growth to qualify for Boston, but the Boston race itself
It's tough.
usually is tough, and they don't do as good as they expected,
Yes,
which is which is interesting. But well, hey, you got your prize money, right? Which is the
right.
for Boston qualification. So it's just
Exactly.
yeah. You're not out there to necessarily
Yeah,
compete and get another Boston qualification. You just want to experience and enjoy it.
absolutely.
And then you said you shaved off another 10 minutes. Like you were sorry, I cut you off at that point on the Milwaukee one. So when was that? Was the following year, or
It
when
was
did
in
that happen?
2019.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was it and from 2017 to 2019, I was focusing mainly on ultras, ultra
Yeah.
marathons, and I became very fast at that time. And I got opportunity to represent India. I was approached by Athletic Federation of India. Hey, we heard about you. You run fast 100K and all. So I
Hmm.
went to Croatia. It was first time that India sent its team, so it was a dream come true as well. So
Hmm.
we represented India in 2018. First time India sent its team.
Hmm.
We were and at that time in 2018, I was really into ultras, and I ran in 2018, April 2018. I ran 100K in Madison itself. It's called
Hmm.
Madison Ultra, and I did terrible in that one. I was
Hmm.
struggling, and I ran 921 or something 100K, and it
Hmm.
was very painful. I was about to
Hmm.
stop in midway, but my wife said, "No, don't." My wife was very helpful in that. She was
Hmm.
proving me, and so the winner of that race was Anthony Kunkel.
Hmm.
And he was so fast. He was running at 655 pace for 100 miles, 100,
Wow.
100 kilometers.
Wow.
Small guy, wonderful athlete. And when he finished in something like around 7 hours or faster than 7 hours. And I finished like 2.5 hours after him.
Hmm.
And so that was my low point. And like I said, it's up and down in your career
Yeah.
and up and down in your races. So I said I should learn from this guy.
Hmm.
And so I approached him after the race. I said, dude, like, I congratulations, first of all. You are wonderful. He's way younger than me, but
Hmm.
he knows how to run. So I said,
Hmm.
can you give me some coaching? He said, yeah, sure,
Hmm.
of course. So I hired him as a coach.
Okay.
And he was a proponent of this high fat, low carb keto diet. And he said,
Hmm.
can you do that? I said, I will definitely try in order to improve my timing. And so I started doing that diet at that time, from
Hmm.
2018
Hmm.
April till September, and it really helped me a lot. I lost
Hmm.
weight, and I was very disciplined. It was very
Hmm.
difficult though, being a vegetarian, because I'm vegetarian. I don't
Hmm.
eat. You don't get many options as a keto person. What do you get? You get
Hmm.
broccoli, you get butter, and you get green vegetables and paneer. I eat dairy,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's it, right? You don't have many options to eat. You don't
Hmm.
eat
Hmm.
roti or chapati because it has a lot of carb. You don't eat fruit.
Hmm.
So I was religiously on this diet for 6 months, and then I went to Croatia to represent India. I lost a lot of weight, and I was in a very good shape.
Hmm.
At that time, I started last. So as an Indian team, we were nowhere in competition because we were so immature as a team. But thanks to Athletic Federation of India and our sponsor, I will say his name. His name is Mr. Naga Raj Adiga, and
Right.
his company is NAB Sports. And
That's what. Yeah.
I would like to thank you through your podcast. He sponsored the Indian team.
Hmm.
He's a great person, and he said I will pay for everything for Indian team.
Hmm.
And so we went there, and that was my one of the best race. Anthony Kunkel was representing USA at that time. He was in US team, and
Hmm.
I was in Indian team.
Hmm.
So my coach was in US
Hmm.
team, so we were seeing each other, and
Okay.
he in the loop, so he said slow down, slow down. He was just instructing me because my goal was to run sub 8:30, or
Hmm.
I want to shave off at least about an hour from my time.
Hmm.
So I started very slow, and I crossed 60 people in last hour. So that diet really worked for me, and I was so grateful to Anthony Kunkel that he
Hmm.
helped me to get that time. So I finished first Indian there. So
Wow.
that's where I was a little bit of so-called famous and pampered.
Yeah. 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 Awesome.
People say, oh
Awesome.
wow, that's wonderful, that's wonderful.
That's
But that was all
incredible.
hard
Yeah.
work, right? Hard work, discipline, and all. So
Totally. Totally.
yeah.
And on a lighter vein, we probably lost an Olympic qualifying athlete because because back then when you were growing, if we had if you probably had chosen athletics, you may have, who knows, you
Who
might have
knows?
actually been a, Olympic gold medalist or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which we struggle from India, we struggle to get more medals. So here we are, potential one, which you lost to become a physicist. It's okay. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, no.
physics won, athletics lost.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I mean, and what is fascinating is that you're a recreational runner. I know you've been running when you were a kid and all that, but but you have so many. You seem to have grown so well in your journey, right? So that's amazing. And then when 100 miler, you also, let's talk about the 100 miler. So when did the 100 miler happen? Around this time when you were
Yes,
doing this? Okay.
yes. It was after finishing my uh, I think 100 miler was, I believe, in 2017. I honestly forgot. Either it's
Hmm.
2017 or 2018. It was around this time.
Okay.
So somebody said that, hey, fastest Indian in 100 miler is right 80. His time is 18 hours and 35 minutes. And I
Hmm.
said, I want to break that record at that time.
Wow.
And I started. I had a lot of help. I have my crew, my wife, my friends who came and coming to different stations. I After like mile 67, I have terrible pain in my legs. It was so
Hmm.
painful. I mean, ultra running is painful. I mean, but again, you tell yourself you signed up for this one, right? You cannot complain, right? So you have pain
That's your
because,
mantra.
yeah, that's my mantra. You signed up for it, right?
Sign
So
up for
so
it.
why you complain? Why you crying? Why you crying now?
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, fine, you are right. I tell myself that you are right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, from 67 till the end, I was able to get a pacer. So my pacer was my friend from my running group,
Hmm.
Henry Southgate. He paced me for 30 miles,
Hmm.
and his pacing helped me a lot. So he started talking about me, what kind of books do you read, and so he just to pass the time while running. And I am terrible pain in my foot. It feels like somebody is just pinching me with a knife or something in my
Hmm.
feet.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was not even listening to him at that time. I was just saying in Hindi, or mar, and then I was telling, "भाई मुझे मार कौन रहा है?" So it's so like it's so it's mentally taxing that you start
Yeah.
talking to yourself. Then you
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
talking to yourself that somebody is hitting in your feet because you have so much pain, and then you
Hmm.
tell yourself nobody is hitting you. Why are you saying or
Hmm.
mar? And then you
Hmm.
realize it's a nature of ultra marathon. That is so painful.
Hmm.
But thanks to my friends and family who supported me, And when I was around mile 90, I said, Hank, do you know what? I can break Indian national record if I finish faster than 18 hours and 35 minutes. He said, let's do
Hmm.
it. And
Wow.
so I started running faster and faster. I didn't stop on the aid stations. It was painful, but I said, okay. I realized I can finish in 18:30. Then I became more faster in last 5 miles. Started and I ran like last mile was like 8:30 pace. My couple of last mile 98, 99, and I have
Wow.
nothing left at that time. So yeah, just this mentality of achieving a particular goal also helps. So then yeah, I finished in 18 at ninth, eighth to ninth place at that time.
Yeah, ninth place. I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
it's you listed at ninth place,
yeah,
and that's amazing. So congratulations. I mean, that's amazing. Very inspiring, actually, Vikas, for how you've built your resume of your races. And so you're so while all this was happening, you also did the Milwaukee and shaved off another 10 minutes over there, right
yes,
in the middle of all this,
yes, yes.
as a training run. Is it you did that as a training run?
No, that one was my goal to get a PR. I was so
Hmm.
I tell you about my friend David a lot. We joke a lot about each other, you know.
Hmm.
So he used to send an email to group. Hey, I'm still grateful on Thanksgiving. He used to send an email. I'm still grateful that I'm faster than Vikas because his fast time was his fast time was 2:52. His PR. And I said, David, not this year.
Not this year.
I said, so
विकास को ललकारा है.
yeah. He said, I said, David, not this year. I'm going to send email this year in 2019. I said, oh yeah, 252 running dude is tough. I said, no, I'm going to run sub 250. And so I ran 247.21 in Milwaukee. And I said,
Wow.
sorry, David, you cannot send email this year. And David ran the fast as well. David ran 249 that 2 weeks later.
Wow.
But yeah, so it is all fun. Uh, yeah.
Terrific. So one question that pops up, Vikas, is obviously you have a job, you have a family, and even for marathon itself, you were doing 80, 100 miles per week. And probably when you were now with ultras, 100Ks, 100 milers, I guess your volumes was plus or minus probably increased,
Increase.
right? How do you manage? How do you do time management?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm trying to come back into the same mentality and same kind of schedule now these days as we are speaking. So, like I said before, you set a goal and you go after it.
Hmm.
So I have two kids, like 7 and 4 years old, and I have my wife and of course a full time job. So you need to find a time to train.
Hmm.
So I used to really honestly wake up at 4 o'clock,
Hmm.
have some chai or something, and then go for a run. So if my goal was to do 100 miles per week, so then I
Hmm.
calculate 15 into 5 is 75, and then long run of 20 miles, then 10 more miles, so 105 miles,
Hmm.
something like this. So if I have to run 15 miles per day, it means I have to need to run 10 miles in the morning or 15 miles, which is a lot. So I
Hmm.
used to break it down that
Okay.
let's do 10 in the morning, wake up at 4, go around 4:30, finish around 6:30, around 10 miles, 9-minute pace or something slow,
Hmm.
and come home, get ready, go to your job. And during lunchtime, everybody get lunch hour, right?
Hmm.
We used to get lunch hour. People used to go for lunch for an hour. I used to go for running at that time, and people used to laugh at me, you know. So this guy is crazy. He runs in the morning. He runs at lunchtime. So, but my goal was different from
Yeah.
theirs. So
Yeah.
I used to have lunch fast, which is not good. I don't advise to have fast lunch.
Hmm. Hmm.
But where do you get the time from?
Hmm.
So I broke it down that way, right? 7 miles in the morning, 3 miles during the lunch
Hmm.
time, so 10, 50, then 20 more on the weekends, then 10 more, 15 more. And if I don't get
Got it.
time during lunchtime, sometimes we are busy, you have meetings also and all, then I used to request my wife, hey, can I go about an hour after in the night
Hmm.
when kids are asleep? So I used to
Hmm.
go around 9, 10 o'clock in the night when kids were sleeping just to make up those miles.
Yeah.
So it's like that. You
Yeah.
need to make time.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Those are good. No, those are great takeaways. I mean, for how you seem to have kind of squeezed in your training in the middle of a busy schedule, right? And what about, so were you only running, or were you also doing other kind of supplementary workouts, like strength training or cross training? Was that also a part? Is that also a part of your training?
Yeah, unfortunately, I will say unfortunately, because I now feel it's a very important part of a training. I
Mm,
never did strength training, and I
mm,
used to squeeze time for my stretching because I used to have back pain. I still have back pain if I don't do
mm,
stretching. But I
mm,
realized later in my life, as I got older, that stretching and strength training is of utmost important if you are in running.
mm, mm.
So, but no, I mean, just to answer your questions, I did not do any strength training. But
Mm.
stretching, if I don't do stretching, I can't run because I will have back.
Right,
But those
right,
are very important. We need to make
right.
time for those. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Now, coming back to your keto, right? I want to double click on that a little bit. So you adopted keto lifestyle, and it seems to have worked for you on your running performance. Um, have you also? I mean, so there are these different theories around keto because it's high fat, and impact of high fat for other aspects of one's health. Um, how's that? Are you otherwise not affected in any way because of a keto lifestyle? Has it how are your numbers okay, your cholesterol, all of that stuff, that seems to be okay?
absolutely. I mean, I will give you an example about the numbers. Because that I'm a scientist and I believe in numbers a lot.
Mhm.
So before I started keto diet, high fat low carb diet, my numbers were always okay, because I was a runner,
Mhm.
everything was great. And but one is like okay, one is very good. It's good, it's great. Your
Mhm.
cholesterol is good. Your high density lipoprotein SDL is higher, it's good,
Mhm.
and your lipoprotein is less. It's LDL is
Mhm.
your low. When I adopted keto diet, after I was on that diet for 6 months, I went to doctor and did my blood work again. Surprisingly, and I'm not surprised anymore because I think this diet is very legitimate and it works if
Mhm.
you train your body to
Mhm.
adopt that diet. I will still say culprit is sugar and carbohydrate is still fat is
Mhm.
not your culprit. And I will give you few examples from the historical point of view as well where I
Mhm.
grew up.
Mhm.
So, but coming back to my numbers, my SDL has gone up and LDL
Mhm.
went down. So
Mhm.
doctor was very happy. Doctor said that it's great. I mean, having a high fat diet at least in your case, not at all. It worked very well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Your SDL is good, LDL is down, and it's much better than before.
Mhm.
So it really depends. I will say from person to person, but
Mhm.
maybe some genetics played a role in my
Mhm.
in my case because I'm from a farmer's family in India, and
Mhm.
I used to work in farms with my uncle, with my tauji, and my
Mhm.
dad was a teacher at that time. And coming to this point, because I'm telling you the historical point, old people in my village used to drink ghee.
Mhm.
Literally, I mean, it's no joke. They'll use to
Mhm.
some ghee and drink it,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And what's that, right? It's total fat,
Yeah.
100% fat,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And they used to work so much in the fields, in sun, in cold winters, and all,
Mhm.
work a lot. And they never had a big belly. They were
Mhm.
lean, fit people. And
Mhm.
I mean, this thing is coming back in India. This chips and French fries and all those carbohydrates
Mm,
is coming
mm.
back.
Processed food. Mm,
Processed food, but ghee was a paramount. I mean, coming from that belt of farmers, people used to
mm,
drink ghee. What is ghee?
mm.
And
Yeah.
eat one roti or something like that, some sabji, but mainly dal, one
Mm,
roti, and ghee.
mm.
And then if I connect the dots, I said our ancestor used to have keto diet, right? They know how to process
Yeah.
fat very well, how to efficiently
Yeah.
use it. They were never fat, skin,
Mm,
tall,
mm,
skinny people used to do a
mm,
lot of work. And I said, it
mm.
makes sense. Maybe it's my
Okay.
genetics is like that I can
Yeah.
process fat very well.
Yeah. 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 Makes sense. Yeah. I think one takeaway for people who are listening to this, right? Because a lot of people, nutrition is one area people get very confused with. Everybody gets confused.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think is to try it and see if it works for you.
absolutely.
And like in your case, it's not just work, but it seems like you're thriving with it.
Yes, yes,
Your numbers are great, your performance, you're performing at a different level.
right.
If it works, stick with it, and if it doesn't work, try something else, right? I mean, I
Absolutely,
think that should be the
absolutely,
takeaway.
absolutely.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now you also are an entrepreneur. In addition, in the middle of all this extremely busy lifestyle of yours, running, family, work, you seem to have also gone into a startup, right? So give us a sense of, and that's in aligned with your passion for running as well. So give us a sense of what that is and how you got into it, and uh, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so one of the problem that nutrition is very important. We all know that if you
Yeah.
don't eat well during your race, and so then you will, definitely have problems. And I had problems. I have my fair
Mm,
shares of problems during my ultras. And one of the problem that I have was by consuming too much sugar. I used to have nausea, around mile 40
mm,
something,
mm,
and I had it multiple times in races. So in one of the race where T-Bug Endurance Challenge, I was running second. I have to
mm,
stop at mile 40 and walk a couple of miles because I was feeling nauseatic because I ate eight energy gels. I will not give the name of that company because it's not right to do, but that gels were too much sugar, So if
yeah,
you eat
yeah,
too much sugar, you will definitely feel nauseatic,
yeah,
Your
yeah.
belly does not process it very well or very quickly. So too much sugar definitely will not help you if you keep consuming it continuously.
Mm, mm,
So I felt nauseous. I felt very bad in the last 2 miles, and then I drink some water and something. Then I felt good, and then I finished
mm,
strong later on.
mm,
But definitely, I brought this issue to my coach during my training, and I said I used to eat gels, and those gels does not work for me. Do you have any idea? He said, yeah, gels are good; they are not bad.
mm,
But I will say that you eat this kind of candy in between. You
mm,
eat gel, you eat this candy, you eat gel, you eat this candy,
mm,
and so that worked very well for me actually. And I
mm,
thought, what is in that candy that is making me feel good? So as a scientist, I figured that out, right? So what
mm,
molecule is that, And so then I thought of, well, I mean, if that molecule is making you feel great all the time, and it solved the nausea problem in the in ultra running, which is a big problem. Not only I have,
mm.
many people have that. Then we can make a product that will solve your nausea problem. You
Mm.
have consistent.
What molecule is this?
This comes from ginger. It's
Mm,
in the ginger extract mainly, and
mm,
so I thought like having a ginger and combining it with the gel. Does it work? So I
mm.
started making my own gels. By
Okay.
so I did a little bit of reading. What do you need? What kind of amino acids you need? And as a food analytical scientist, I know how much you need, what you need.
Mm, mm,
So I made my own gels and with of course different ingredients and this extract and all. And I did 100K, which I won, Badger Trail 100K. So I
mm.
used my own gels. I packed in a pouch that I
Okay.
bought from Amazon, and I felt great. And I said, "This is so we made something great." So I shared that product back in India with
Mm,
my friends who represented India and I, as well. And he said, because this is wonderful. This is
mm,
great, and we have this never this problem. We asked people, "Hey, will you try our gel?" They said, "No, we have nausea problem with gels. We never eat those." I said, "Okay, you
mm,
try mine. Just try and
mm.
then let me know." And some of them said, "Yeah, this is wonderful. We never felt so good on." So that's how that's how
And what's the name of your startup?
it's called Leap India. Leap. The name
Leap
of the
India.
gel is Leap. So the
Leap
gel was
India.
our
Leap is
first
a
product,
product. Okay.
and the Leap Storm is our another product.
Mm,
So that's how all it started. And my friend who is a ultra runner, who is our CEO as well, CEO of the company, he runs it in India, and we both are passionate about running and about nutrition. So
yeah.
it's going well.
Great. Good luck with that. I mean, hope you do well. It's always good to have products that are coming from practitioners and not,
No, yeah,
not from the labs.
right.
So I'm sure that would be good for folks who are using it. Awesome, and it's a competitive market, right? The whole supplement industry is also quite competitive in India now, right?
Yeah, it is very competitive industry, but we both decided that if our product has a unique selling proposition,
Mm,
if it really works for people, it works. I mean, nobody says
yeah.
in India people say that Leap really works. What they promise. I
Mm,
mean, every startup has a problem, but some issues, but it will always be there. But yeah, definitely competition is there. But
yeah. Yeah.
like I said, we are not afraid.
You're a competitive guy. I'm sure you are not going to be faced by
Yeah,
competition.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, for some, absolutely, no doubts, no doubts. I'm sure the startup is in the right hands with someone like you behind it. Terrific. Cool. So, what next in your journey, in your running journey? What else are you planning?
So yeah, I mean, I then like I said, life is a wave. You go up, you go down,
Hmm.
you go up again, and so I was training to run back in 2020, I will say, or 2019. I was planning to break the 100 miler record again.
Hmm.
So my goal was to run sub 16 hour 100 miler, and I was in
Hmm.
a very good
Hmm.
shape. I was training very hard, and I think I was under the impression that I will do it.
Hmm.
I was putting 100 miles per week, for continuously for 4 months, and I thought I will do it. But just 1 month before the marathon, the this race of 100 miler, Hennepin Hundred, it's very flat.
Hmm.
You can get PR there easily. I went for a 32-mile run, and
Hmm.
run was very good actually. I finished in at 8-minute pace, 8:15 or something, 35, and I was of course tired. You run for that fast,
Hmm.
but I was not trashed at that day. Next day I woke up, I was not able to walk, and I have terrible pain in my Achilles. And
Hmm.
so I said, "What is that?" And so that pain is still. It has been 1.5 year, almost 2 years, that this pain is bothering me. You know.
Hmm.
So I saw physical therapist and doctors. Doctor said go ahead and do get the surgery done, but I'm still avoiding surgery. So still running with pain. Doctor said if you run, no problem, you can run,
Hmm.
but eventually you need to get the surgery done. So in order to see where I stand, I did a marathon recently. I stand nowhere. I ran 3:17. I wanted to run sub 3, no chance.
Hmm.
And so I signed up for a half marathon in March, which I want to run at least 125, and
Hmm.
then a full marathon again in April. That I want to run at least 250,
Hmm.
and eventually this year I want to get PR again, 245, 240 something. I'm older, but I will try to do it
Yeah,
again. So
you're a competitive guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do wish that your injury heals and you continue to push.
thank you.
And yeah, I mean, well, if you can, you should, right?
Yeah,
You're
absolutely,
for
absolutely.
sure you're able to do it, and why not? As long as your body can handle it, and that, I mean, I guess professional athletes are doing that, right? It's not like their life is without injury, or
Oh
you
yeah,
hear every right. It's a part of the game,
it's a part of the game.
part of the game,
Yeah.
and if you can do it, you should. So we do hope you do.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, 2023 is my goal to
Mm,
here is I'm very optimistic that I will get some good ultras and
mm,
good marathon time. So that's my goal. And
terrific.
we enjoy running, so it's fun part.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Hey, so I think we covered a fair bit of ground about your journey and learned a lot. And it's always great to learn from people like you who are pushing it. It's not like you're settling down. And surely you're not a guy who settles down. You're kind of always pushing it. So in the process, you're bringing out new things about how to do it better, different. So it's a very, very insightful conversation. Coming to the last part of my podcast here is a fun Q&A round, which I like to do with my guests. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready for that. I don't know what it will be, but I'm really ready for that. Yes, let's go.
Okay, let's have some fun here. Okay, so um, we talked about food. What's your favorite junk food?
Samosa.
Samosa.
Yeah.
Wow. And with your keto diet, where does that fit in?
I
How do you
never,
manage?
I never, I am not on keto diet anymore. By the way,
Oh, okay.
I try to be, but I was on keto diet for a year religiously. At that time,
Mm,
no samosa, no roti, nothing, no carb at all.
mm,
But these days,
mm.
yes. I mean,
Now you're
Sometimes,
on a break.
yeah, I'm on a break. Yeah, yeah,
You're enjoying
yeah.
the break.
Right, right.
Maybe you should invent a keto samosa. Your company can do that also.
I tried keto naan. It was terrible.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Carbs are tasty, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. What's your favorite way to spend a lazy day other than running?
Oh, the lazy day. Other than running, I will play with my kids.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. They're what, 7 and 4? You said,
yeah.
right?
7 and 4. Yes, two girls.
Okay. Hmm. Awesome. Uh, the most annoying comment you've heard from someone, friend or acquaintance about your running lifestyle.
So the most annoying one is that people who do not run, they always say you will have knee problems. Do not run so
Hmm.
much. That annoys me a lot, really. And
Yeah.
if it's coming from a runner, I will take it. Because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
person or that guy is putting himself into into those shoes. But it's somebody who
Yeah.
never ran, never will, and say no, your knees will hurt. That annoys
Yeah.
me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. And I think there's enough science and evidence that shows that actually the knees are healthier for runners because
Exactly,
they're
exactly,
producing those whatever chemicals, enzymes to
exactly.
keep it lubricated. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. What's the funniest thing you've heard about your lifestyle, running lifestyle?
Running lifestyle. I mean, uh, funniest thing people say कि I mean I will tell in Hindi कि ये पगला गया मिल्खा सिंह ये पागल हो गया है actually
पागल हो गया है.
ये funny I mean it's people will call it why do you run I mean you don't get money like my dad said you
Yeah.
are not getting money you just run I said dad I enjoy it what kind of enjoyment is that
कार खरीद लो.
yeah exactly exactly कार खरीद लो क्यों रन कर रहे हो
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I find it
That's
very
true.
funny that like people say that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My last one is if we made a movie of your life so far, right? And a what genre would you put it in? What category? And who would you hire as the actor to play your character?
Oh, okay. I will definitely put it in as a sport movie. Definitely. I mean, if that's the correct answer.
Yeah,
And since I am so impressed with this guy, the guy who played Milka Singh. What's the name of this
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
Farhan Akhtar.
Farhan Akhtar
Yeah, he did so well. So
did.
I will want Farhan Akhtar to play it. And it
Yeah,
should be about ultra running. How a guy from a village came.
yeah, yeah,
He went to USA and still he followed his passion. That was his
yeah,
passion in the childhood, but he just did it after later in his life.
yeah, yeah. And is breaking records.
At that time, yeah. But I will try to do it again. I'm not settling, like you said.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Farhan Akhtar, there's a script coming your way. Look at your inbox. But that's a great choice. I would second that too. That's a great choice. Farhan Akhtar would do a great job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, you did well on the Q&A round. Learned a few more things about you in the process. So, Vikas, again, amazing conversation. Kind of coming to a wrap up here. Any last word, final message to the audience? I give you the last word.
Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. As we were discussing, like uh, that I am not that good anymore, and you were saying, no, 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 you are. But thank you for saying that I'm good. And so the last word or the advice, whatever, in all humbleness, I will say that. I mean, if you make a goal and put
Mm,
consistent hard work with the discipline,
mm,
I will say if I can do it, anybody can
mm,
do it. Seriously. I mean,
mm,
I'm not just making it as a philosophical, but this is
mm,
so true. And because I have lived it, it's not like a
mm,
textbook thing.
mm,
I have lived this thing that if you make certain thing as a goal, and if you
mm,
put consistent hard work, anybody can do it. Seriously.
mm, mm.
So that's my last word. That if I can do it, you can
Beautiful.
do it too.
Lovely. Beautiful. Beautifully said. And I think, as you said, you live it. And I would also say that, and as you since you mentioned about you're not as good as you were before, but it's like saying, what I told you was, hey, Sachin Tendulkar will always be Sachin Tendulkar. To kya ho gaya? I mean, maybe he's retired now.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean your accomplishments are diminished by any chance. Yeah, I mean, you're going after bigger goals, and I wish you all the success. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you already have achieved quite a phenomenal. You delivered some great performances on the races. So thank you for that. You're making the not the Indian flag alone, but South Asians. All of us who are from that part of the world feel proud that you're doing great. So thank you for that. Keep pushing.
Thank you so much. It was really lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vikas. Good luck.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.